Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of Crypto Talk. I am your host, Casey Pine. You are in for a real treat today, as I had the pleasure of interviewing Travis Wright from the Bad Crypto podcast, which is one of the most downloaded, if not the most downloaded, crypto podcasts in the whole entire world. I know I've spoken about the Bad Crypto podcast on here before, so it was absolutely amazing for me to speak with Travis. Travis is also the author of Digital Sense and a marketing technology consultant, but today, naturally, we speak about all things crypto. From his interview with John McAfee to keeping your crypto safe, it is well worth a listen. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Good morning, Travis, and thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, my pleasure.
Well, I keep saying good morning to you, but it's afternoon where you are, isn't it?
Yes, I'm on the other side of the world. I'm actually behind you guys, so you guys are in the future.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That we are. Travis, can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got started in the crypto world?
Well, so, I'm a marketing technologist by trade, so I'm also an author. I host the VentureBeat podcast, which is one of the top, tech publications in Silicon Valley. And so I'm always looking at emerging technologies, and blockchain was one of the technologies that really struck me as interesting moving forward. And so I dove down and started doing a lot more research into blockchain as a technology. And then crypto sort of pops up as a byproduct of blockchain. Yeah. And then you start realizing, wow, look at all these companies that don't understand marketing and have a lot of money. This looks like I should talk to these people.
Yeah. There's so many of them.
They have so much cash and no marketing at all. Wow, yeah. This is perfect.
Well, that's funny because usually people say that they discover like cryptocurrencies first and then blockchain technology, but you were the other way around?
Well, I discovered Bitcoin back in 2010.
Yeah.
And I mined some. And I was able to mine 50 Bitcoin back in 2010.
Wow.
And then I went to one of those Bitcoin faucets where they would give you a little bit of Bitcoin. Like every day, I think they would give you 5 Bitcoin if you came to the site. And I'm a genius, and I went to the site one time, got 5 Bitcoin. I got 55 Bitcoin, and I go, wow, that was cool. So what do I do with this? It's worthless. Okay. And then whenever I was mining the Bitcoin, it was just totally just my fan on my computer was like, wah! Like, I think this sounds like a Mazda Miata or something. I need to shift gears or stop mining this crazy Bitcoin stuff. So I no longer mined Bitcoin, and then my computer crashed shortly thereafter, and then I ended up throwing the computer away and forgot to take all the Bitcoin off.
Oh,
so
no. Wow.
So that was awesome.
Ah, that must be oof.
But it was only 55 Bitcoin. I mean, it didn't sound like that was that big of a deal. It was so easy to get them.
Yeah.
It's a 55 Bitcoin. Who cares? 55 Bitcoin, big deal.
Yeah.
Well, then later on when they were worth $1 million, I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Your chance will come again, I'm sure. Someone might just flick 55 Bitcoin your way.
Maybe so. Or I need to make some good investments along the way.
Yes.
I am still not back up to that original. I'm a long ways away from the original crypto gains, but I fluked my way into those.
There's just so many stories of that out there. It's just, I'm glad I'm not one of them because I don't think I'd be paying any attention to crypto if that was the case for me. I'd be like, nah, I can't think about it.
Well, it was early on, and I was just like, Nobody really was thinking about it at all then. The thing is that if everybody had held on to their crypto from back in 2010, nobody would have gotten any crypto, and so it would have never have been valuable. That's what people talk about. They go, "Oh man, I had 1,000 Bitcoin, but then I sold them at $100." I'm like, "Well, cool. Well, thank you for that. Because if you hadn't done that, then maybe crypto would have never have gained the limited adoption that it has so far."
Yeah, wow, that's very true. Never thought of it like that. So with your podcast that you have at the moment, which is how I found you, your Bad Crypto podcast, can you tell us a bit about that and what you do there?
Sure. Actually, we're one of the top investing podcasts in Australia. So if you go to iTunes and look in that, I know at one point we were number 2 for the longest time. And iTunes has some weird algorithms, though, so I don't necessarily know how it all works. But we've been doing the podcast since July. And the reason we set the podcast up was because we were really learning about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and we wanted to teach folks about it as we learned. And so my co-host, Joel Comm, between Joel and I, we've written 16 books on marketing.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, well, he's written 15, and I've written 1, but it sounds better if we mash them together.
Yes.
I mean, together we've written 16.
Yeah.
That sounds really impressive.
It does.
But when I say he's written 15 of them, it does not sound as impressive. But yeah, so we're marketing folks, and so we saw the opportunity here within crypto, and we're just having fun talking about it. You know, that's really one of the things is that I like to have fun. Joel likes to do good stuff. That's one of the things he always talks about.
Yeah.
And we were having conversations almost every day about crypto as that was rolling up. And then what we did, Casey, was we decided to do it. And so on July 16th, I made a comment to him. I was joking. I was like, so how long until we have the TW and Joel crypto show? And then he sent me a message back. He's like, call me. And then literally we decided to do the podcast. We set up a page. We set up the podcast, we set up the blog, set up the branding, created the intro music for the podcast, created and recorded the very first episode, had it launched fully live. Everything was live within 48 hours.
Yeah, wow. That's some fast work. That's where your marketing expertise comes in.
Well, it's like this. If you want to do something, don't just think about doing something. Just do something.
Yeah. Very much agreed. So you've had some amazing people on your show, like John McAfee, Roger Ver, and Ronnie Moas, who's hilarious. I love him. Is there anything that you've learned that really stands out?
Well, through a lot of these folks, it's that this is a very interesting space. It's a very new space, and we have not reached mass adoption yet.
Yeah.
Some people think that we're in the mid-90s compared to the internet. Other people think that we're in the 1980s compared to the internet.
Yeah.
So we're really early on. Now, one of the things about this that I've learned personally is that it's a jungle out there, and you need to secure your crypto. If you do not have two-factor authentication on your email, if you do not have two-factor authentication on every single one of your exchanges that you're using, if you do not call your phone, your cellular phone company and tell them under no circumstances to port your phone number or to let anyone switch your phone number or do a SIM card swap at any time, then you're going to have problems down the road. So I got hacked back in October. Some dude called up T-Mobile and acted like they were me, got my social security number off the dark web because I don't know if you remember this or not, but Equifax was hacked several months ago. And so most everyone in America, at least half of them, their social security numbers are on the dark web.
Yeah, wow.
And so they had my social. They contacted T-Mobile, got them to switch my phone number over to their phone. Mm-hmm. And then they were able to reset my Gmail because I did not have two-factor authentication on. They were able to reset my Apple ID because I did not have two-factor authentication on. They were able to reset all kinds of things. And I was able to gain all of them back pretty quickly because I was able to figure out what happened really early on. And the reason that I mention that is that Ian Bellina, he's a cryptocurrency investor and advisor. He's an evangelist. He's been on Wall Street Journal. He's been on CNBC. He's talked a whole lot about ICOs. Last night, he got hacked.
Yeah.
He lost over $2 million worth of crypto because he had his private keys on an Evernote account.
Yeah. That is heartbreaking. I know he says that lesson learned, it's okay, but gosh, to lose any money is just such a horrible thing to go through, especially when he's worked so hard for it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, easy come, easy go. But I mean, the thing is that, I mean, part of his problem is that he was showcasing his portfolio on Twitter each day. He was like, or like once a week or something. He was like, oh, look, I'm at $2.9 million.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You show that to people and they go, oh, wow. Okay, let's see if we can figure this guy's information out. Let's hack him. And so, you know, it doesn't seem like it's really hard anymore for these hackers to do this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that I saw him posting like his portfolio on Twitter, and I thought that's kind of cool. he's putting his money where his mouth is.
My thought was, that's kind of dumb.
Well, this was before the hack. I was like, wow, he's like showing that he is actually making money and people appreciate that and people love results. So it's good marketing. But yeah, in hindsight, it's not the best as it's turned out. Yeah. Especially when you lose it.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things is that I could literally go on Blockfolio and say that I have 7 million of this and a bunch of that and a bunch of this and be like, look how cool I am.
Yeah, that's true.
But all that does is put a target on your back.
Yeah, it does. Well, let's hope that everybody learns from that because that is a lot of money and that went really quick. And to see that on the live stream happen, and he handled it pretty well, actually. I would have panicked and just dropped everything.
Well, he probably said lots of cuss words, just not on Twitter. He's like, oh, man, you know what?
Yeah.
I've learned my lesson. It's all good. Don't worry about that. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care about the money. No. He's going, are you effing kidding me?
Yeah.
This is the worst effing day of my life. I mean, he's not. Outwardly, he's trying to be all cool about it.
Yeah.
Inwardly, he is flipping. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is your favorite guest that you've had on the Bad Crypto podcast so far?
The favorite guest that we've had? We've had some great ones. I mean, we've had Charlie Lee on, a founder of Litecoin. We had the CEO of Ripple on, Brad Garlinghouse. He was great.
Yeah.
We've had Ronnie on like 4 times now because he's pretty funny and he gets all frantic and he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
But I would say that the highlight so far it has to be the John McAfee interview because if you listen to that thing, he shares a lot of wisdom and he's not all crazy in that interview. But oh my God, he is still like he's just like an outlaw. You know what I mean? He's just like the things that he would say is just like, did he just say that?
Yeah.
Wow. And then I was joking. I said I made one joke during it, and then because he was coughing, and I was like, he's like, I said you need to put down the bong, or you need to take another bong hit. And he goes, He goes, actually, it's time for some heroin. And then he grabs this tourniquet and straps it across his arm. He didn't take a hit of heroin during the interview, but I was like, if you see my face during that interview, we have it on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Like when he did that, like my face, I was like, oh my God, what? Are you serious? Did he just, whoa. Like you could just see all the thoughts going through my head in like the split second when I see him grab that tourniquet.
Yeah. Hence why it's uncensored and you have the warnings at the beginning.
Yeah. He's off the rails, but he's an interesting character, that's for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about when he said that he knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is?
Well, either he's just kind of, that was kind of an ego thing, or who knows?
Yeah.
I kind of think, for me personally, it's in my mind, it's either the NSA who created it, which is a government agency in America, or it's a consortium of people who created it, or it's Hal Finney, the dude who the first transaction was sent to, or it's Nick Szabo. One of those guys, or a collection of those guys, had a hand in it.
Yeah.
Who exactly did it? Who knows? Hal Finney's actually dead. He had some health condition that was deteriorating over time, so he's not around anymore.
Yeah.
So it might have been him, but who knows? I don't have any idea. He says he might know, and then he was a little snippy on some of his answers in the beginning, but then I think he warmed up to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But if he was busting my balls, I was like, damn, John McAfee. Be gentle.
It's a fantastic interview and I highly suggest that everybody watches it. What is your favorite ICO that you've had on the show?
Well, we had a interesting one really early on. Actually, I think our first ICO episode, we had Horizon State on and Power Ledger. And the way that we had orchestrated a deal, like those are sponsored shows. Yeah. And so they had given us a pretty significant amount of tokens to be on the show. And then whenever the ICO for Power Ledger started off at 7 cents and then it went up to $1.64, I mean, like, that was amazing. Yeah. I was like, are you serious? Wow, I love crypto. Yeah. This is fun. And now it's at 30 cents or something, whatever it is. But that's one of Australia's largest, successful ICOs in cryptocurrencies is Power Ledger. I think it's a great product. We've had over 100 on the show now so far. So there's been a bunch of them that I've really liked. The first one though that really popped was Power Ledger, so I was pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, like you said, it's a fantastic product, and it's pretty cool that they're Australian as well, because there's just so much here that happens, and they tend to only get so far. There seems to be a little bit of a ceiling, and if you can break through that, you're just going to do so well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hopefully we'll see more Australian coins in the future, like ideas and businesses around blockchain. So
right on. Where are you based out of, Casey?
I'm in Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's not Brisbane.
No, not Brisbane. Well, I'm actually on the Gold Coast, which is outside of Brisbane, but just for people from overseas that have never heard the Gold Coast, I just say Brisbane. It's a lot easier.
I have heard of the Gold Coast. I am well traveled and refined.
Oh, well, there you go. So
I'm a world traveler, Casey. So,
speaking of your world travel, are you coming to Australia?
There are some discussions of us coming to Australia in the end of May, but that has not been fully finalized or locked down yet. So we would love to come to Australia. We have a ton of great fans down there. I think Australia is our second biggest market that listens to our show. And they love us down there. I think it's because of our awesome Australian accents. I think.
Probably not because of that, but
put another prawn on the barbie. That's not a knife. That's a knife. No, that's really what we have. Is we have Crocodile Dundee as our Australian mentor.
Yes.
So that's what we have here. But yeah, so we want to do a tour. We want to go to Sydney. We want to go to Melbourne. We want to go to Perth. And maybe we'll go to Brisbane and the Gold Coast just because you're there.
Yes, you have to come.
Maybe. Maybe Adelaide, South Adelaide. We just want to go around Australia and be hip.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. And I'm sure you'll draw massive crowds because, as you said, you are very popular here. I put out there that I'm interviewing you and people couldn't believe it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is so hilarious is that, we're just curious people who like to have fun. Joel and I, we like to research and figure things out. I know I affectionately call myself a shit figure outer because I'm always figuring things out, it's like, and then I'll go down rabbit holes and explore things.
Yeah.
And crypto and blockchain was just so fascinating to me. And as Joel and I were having these conversations anyway, and I was like, dude, we should just record these because we're pretty hilarious, dude. These are pretty funny. And so we started having more phone calls, and then we started doing the podcast, and it took off way faster than we thought it would. We had no idea it was going to take off like it did, but we're so grateful. And everyone that I've met, I've met a bunch of Aussie fans when I was on the Blockchain Asia cruise. They were all cool. And next thing you know, they're like my lifelong buddies, it seemed like. So, I'm a big fan of the Aussies. I think they're great. I would not mind living in Australia someday. You all have some beautiful beaches down there.
Yeah, we certainly do. We just had the Commonwealth Games here on the Gold Coast, and just seeing the showcase that they put on the television, it just looks amazing. I was like, wow, I live here. Really come down.
Pretty solid. So yeah, I've been to Australia twice so far, and looking forward to coming back.
Yeah. So I won't take up too much more of your time, but I have one more question because it seems to be a question that you guys always ask on your podcast, and I would like to hear your thoughts, is how much do you think Bitcoin will be at the end of this year?
Well, I had a different answer early on in the year and now than where it is now. So, I hope that it gets back to 20,000.
Yeah.
I looked at there's this link that it basically uses John McAfee's predictor of $1 million by the year 2020, and we've just hit back onto that. So based on that, we should be at about 25,000 by the end of the year. So maybe that will be the case. It really depends because the market cap value, last Thanksgiving it was 250,000. Now it's like 325,000, I think. It got all the way up to 800 or billion, excuse me. It was at 250 billion on Thanksgiving US last year. Then it got up to 840 billion, and now it's at like 300 and what is it now? 300 and last I checked it was 325 billion right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd love to see it hit $1 trillion market cap this year. I think it could if we could get out of the way, and if we can get all of the manipulation of big money out of the way. But I mean, it seems to me that the space is always changing, and so who really knows? As we say, we are not financial advisors.
No. But I think it's really important to have podcasts like yours. You're entertaining, you make it easy to listen to, and just you'll get more people engaged, and just you're a fantastic entry point for people that are looking to even pay attention to cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, because it's coming, isn't it? It's definitely going to be in our future.
I believe it is, and thank you for those kind words. That's really why we wanted to do the show, to help the people just getting into the crypto space, to help them understand how it all works, and to have fun along the way, to make it entertaining, because everybody else was so if you listen to them, they were so technical, so nerdy, so over the top with their technical terms. Like they all wanted to outsmart everyone else with their lingo.
Yeah.
And so you'd listen to some of those and you get a headache. Right? And so we decided to say, hey, let's have fun with it. Let's create a podcast that we don't take ourselves too serious. And we're the bad crypto podcast because we're not experts. We're still learning. I don't consider myself a full-on expert in this space. I'm an expert in marketing technology. I'm becoming pretty well-versed in crypto, but I wouldn't say that I'm an expert. I'm still probably intermediate overall, but we have a pretty successful show, and we've interviewed a lot of amazing people, and that helps you learn. And so I'm all about learning and growing. I never consider myself to really be an expert. I consider myself to be a lifelong learner, and I'm always trying to level up my life in different areas. And so, crypto is one of those areas that I really enjoy talking about and thinking about and speculating on, doing some investments in. And, I probably will never buy a Lambo. But I will probably buy a really nice, 1960s muscle car from, something really awesome. I'm thinking like a 1969 Mustang convertible.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty good.
That would be pretty cool. I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And hopefully I will have you back on again one day. Even Mr. Joel Comm. Maybe.
Maybe so. Maybe you can get Joel Comm on next.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Well, thank you for your time, Travis.
Well, thank you, Casey. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And to all the listeners, thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions, connect with me on Twitter. I'm TW, not letter T, letter W, but letter TEEDUBYA. You got to phonetically spell it out, because that's what my grandpa always used to call me, TW. And so that's my Twitter handle.
That is hilarious. And I'll put all the links to the podcast, your Twitter, and everything in the description so people can find you and listen to your amazing podcast.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for listening to Casey's amazing podcast.
Thanks, Travis.
All right, stay bad.
I hope you all enjoyed that podcast, and I hope it gave you a bit of a giggle. As you can hear, I giggled all the way through it. Probably because I was a mixture of being starstruck and Travis is very funny. Make sure you let me know what you think by tweeting at me. My Twitter is at @KCLPine. I'll make sure I put the link to my Twitter handle in the description. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'm there now. And if you're not already in the Crypto Talk Facebook group, make sure you come along and say hi and join the conversation. We would love to hear from you. I will put the link to that in the description as well. Have an amazing day, whatever you are doing, and I will see you